We are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And what a 24 hours it's been since we've last been live. Last night, everything kind of kicked off around about 9 o'clock. I was just getting back from the gym and stuff. And I look at my phone and I see we bid again for Jared Brantwhaite. 45 million plus 5 in add-ons. And that bid was rejected by Everton. What is Manchester United's response? Going to agree a fee the very next day with Lille for Lenny Yoro. Now, I still think Yoro is going to go to Real Madrid. I think that's his preference, but I do feel like this is a good ploy by United to try put the pressure on Everton. And United's bid is far significant in terms of actual value to Lille, and I'm sure their preference would be to sell Yoro for 50 million euros to Manchester United as opposed to selling him for 30, 35 as to what Real Madrid have offered. So that could be their preference. Does that throw a spanner in the works? Does that make Yoro rethink his options? I'm not too sure. It seems very familiar, guys, if we just cast our minds back, of course, to 2011. Obviously, there was Raphael Varane in the market, and there was also Phil Jones in the market. Now, I'm not trying to say Brantwaite's going to end up like Phil Jones by any stretch of the imagination, but top young defender coming out of France, top young defender in England. United's kind of got the choice of who we're going to go for. There's a lot of positives to both players. I think Brantwhaite is probably better suited for what we need. You know, he can play right centre-back and left centre-back really well, and I feel like that's probably the preference from Manchester United, surely at this point, is to cover both positions, and Brantwaite would be a really good option to do that. But Yoro is absolutely fantastic, and you're looking there at a player probably destined to be one of the next big things in terms of centre-backs in European football. Of course, not just the only business getting done. Matthias de Ligt is getting closer. Zirkzee is nearly done. We're talking to Ugarte and can't share this with you guys as well. This is in, I believe, the last 2 or 3 minutes. Manchester United have agreed a deal to sell Mason Greenwood to Marseille. This is coming from David Ornstein. It's as reliable as we can get. Marseille have reached the agreement to sign Mason Greenwood, remains subject to player approval, which isn't yet in place. Total deal is worth 31.6 million euros. That could be 27.6 up front with 4 million in add-on. So about 32 million euros, probably a combined fee of about 28 million euros, I guess, all in all, with about 24 million up front. That's not too bad. You know, that's good for Manchester United, and you know that would help us out a lot in terms of our FFP. Greenwood, of course, was always going to be an important seal for the club. He was always going to be an important player to get moved on for several different reasons, and I think the biggest one, of course, was that we need to be selling these kind of players, and it's a deal that will go completely to FFP. It's a deal that completely rework that there. So agreement made with Marseille. Let me just quickly get this. Let me just quickly get this here. Done for that there. I think that there should send. We'll just send that there. You guys can look over it. That's in the chat. Greenwood has agreed to be sold. I'm gonna quickly update the old title as well, just so everybody knows the very latest there. So Mason Greenwood gonna get sold by United. Can't complain too much about that one. Important deals for our FFP, important deals for us to be moving into the summer. And if it is gonna be £24 million up front, that probably covers 2 players in this summer. Not that we're gonna be buying £12 million players, but as we know, if you amortize a deal, then all of a sudden things are spread out. So you could end up with a player of £60 million on a 5-year deal. You pay £12 million right now. That covers 1 player at that there. That could do 2 players at £60 million total fee. That's really good from Manchester United's point of view. So important that we've done that there. Important that we've got that deal done. I feel like it was never going to happen with a comeback for Greenwood at United. I don't think I don't think that deal was ever unlikely, and I don't think he was ever really going to come back, so it's important that we do get him sold, I guess. And he has, well, seemingly going to go to Marseille. Let me just quickly do that there. He's going to link up with Zirkzee. And crucially as well, guys, there's also going to be a really big sell-on fee, which will be really important to Manchester United. And the reason that's important is if Greenwood hits the ground running and does well at Marseille, you might see him move on to a bigger club within Europe. And that could be another big fee. And according to Ornstein, it looks like we've got about a 40% sell-on clause. So that, again, really, really good. hypothetically, if Greenwood went for 100 million, say, that could be 40 million to Manchester United. I don't think he will go for 100 million at any point, but that is important future income guaranteed as well. So that's important. Deal agreed with Marseille. He is not agreed terms as of yet, but that is pretty much brand new information in the last 5 minutes. And we also have an update on Facundo Pellistri as well, coming in from Sky Sports and The Athletic. Facundo Pellistri is actively seeking a move away from United, whether that could be on loan or a permanent move. I think it has to be a permanent move at this point. I think Pellistri's maybe 21, 22. He needs to go and play football regularly somewhere. It's clearly not going to be United. Let's see if we can get a deal done there as well. I've loads of comments in the chat as well. Stephanie's down there. Alex is down there, buddy. Do you think Jim gets 100% of the club? At some point, I think he will. I would imagine that might be further down the line, though. First things first, he's going to try to get an overall majority. After that will be getting up the rest of the Glazer shares, and then probably going to buy up the other shares from private equity and whoever else holds shares in Manchester United. But those will be more expensive. I think his first priority will be get the majority done. Then all of the decision making is his on both sides of the club. Whereas at the minute, yes, we're making all the sporting decisions with Ineos, yes. But of course, there is collaboration. There is having to be compromises made on the other aspects, the financial side, the commercial side, the business as a whole, and how we operate and stuff. All that will have, unfortunately, Glazer input on it, but hopefully for not too much longer. And I do think there will be a plan. He'll probably buy more shares by the end of the year, and we'll slowly start to get towards that majority, I guess. I think at the minute it's probably about 27-28% of the club total. So I would imagine probably get up to a third by the end of the year, maybe up to 40% by the end of next year, maybe even more. We'll find out on that one. But exciting news there in Greenwood. It's an important sale. I have TI10, I think. What is Ten Hag's philosophy? That's an interesting one. That's one to ask Eric Ten Hag, because sometimes it's very unclear, man, and maybe I'll do a video on that this week. I do want to start getting regular videos put up as well, so maybe we'll have a look at what we're going to be doing for next season based on our current transfer targets. But it's positive news. It's been a good 24 hours, and it's been a long time, I think, since we've seen Manchester United operate in this way. It looks to be a different way of operating, doing multiple deals at a time, going for smart prices, trying to work down clubs and prices, looking elsewhere if needs be, and just running like a proper football club. This is what our competitors would do. This is what City will be doing. City are probably working on 3 or 4 deals right now. So are Arsenal. Chelsea have signed like 4 players already, and they'll probably sign 4 or 5 more by the end of the window. So yeah, long may this continue. And plenty of stuff we do want to go through as well on tonight's show. I've got Bart down there. Good to see you, buddy. Ten Hag being back, having football people upstairs, no more hoofball then. Yeah, I think there's going to have to be an increased expectation on him this year. Obviously, look, we had the big review this year, and his position was really scrutinised and analysed, and they took their time and made a decision on Ten Hag, and eventually chose to keep him, extended his contract by a year. So that's probably a 2-year project that he has got. That would take him up to a total, I think, of 4 or 5 years, I guess, by the end of that. So it does look like we're sticking with Eric for the meantime. He from the footballing point of view, I think it's got to improve. Results have got to improve, but a good window and bringing some really good players in is going to help that out an awful lot. But an important seal. Lucky Singh is down there. Good to see you, buddy, as well. And Chatsport. No, sorry. Bart says, sorry. Mount's like a new signing. He missed most of last year. Yeah, it's one of those ones. Frustrating for Mount. Frustrating deal, all things considered, because I guess technically we could have had him we could have had him right now for free if we had held off in a year, and we wouldn't really have missed too much. Bar his goal at Brentford, I think, but that's pretty much the height of it. But yeah, hopefully there's going to be a lot more to come from Mount, and hopefully he can add to our midfield and add to our versatility in those positions. But definitely a big window incoming for Manchester United, guys. Really excited coming into this summer. Lucky Singh's down there. We all prefer to go to Spain, but Valencia, he's gone for Marseille. Yeah, I mean, Marseille's not a bad. It's not a bad deal for Greenwood. He'll probably do quite well there under Zirkzee, and we'll see how things progress. Alex is down there. What do you think the transfer business will be? That's a good question. Look, at the minute, I think there's 5 or 6 players we look to be targeting and going after. I don't think we're going to sign 5 or 6 players. I think you get your two centre backs. I think the Ligt is a separate deal, and you get one of Yoro or Brantwhaite. That seems to be the plan. So that takes us to two. Zirkzee is pretty much done deal territory. We're just waiting for the Netherlands to exit Euro 2024 to go personal terms and just do the medical and stuff. That's all pretty easy. That could even be done by the end of the week if they go out on Wednesday night, tomorrow night against England. And I guess beyond that, you start to look. Ugarte does seem to be a target in midfield. Does look like we want another midfielder as well, which is good. But I think that's going to depend on selling Casemiro potentially and freeing up those wages. I think that's the big thing at the moment. And then I think you potentially look at a left back. You potentially look at another forward option. That does seem to be the plan. We do have a quick update from Fabrizio Romano as well. Kind of a rewording of what he's been saying all week on Zirkzee, but I'll give it to you guys anyway. United are ready to complete the signing of Joshua Zirkzee in the next few days. No issues. 5-year deal is agreed as per last week. Formal steps with Bologna will now follow this week. Does look like we're going to pay the buyout clause, which is interesting, but that's to be expected. And yeah, I would say that's probably going to be our window. Maybe you get a left back in. There was talk of going for cheaper options as well. There was another player I'd like to give you guys. I'm definitely going to butcher his name. I'm really going to badly pronounce this guy's name, so please do bear with me. But he's a Turkish player. I'm pretty sure that he's a fullback as well. Seen him a few times in the Euros. Always looked to be involved. Does look pretty tenacious. Let me see if I can get him up and try to pronounce this guy's name. Obviously, look, he's got a background playing Dutch football as well, which I'm sure is going to be appealing to a lot of people within United, Ten Hag especially. I think it was Muppeteers kind of first broke the story on it. Let me see if I can quickly pull this up for you guys. Let me see. It's not the Ligt. It's not Brantwhaite. 1 second, guys. It's Ferdi Kaliolu. I think Ferdi Kaliolu from Fenerbahce does look to be potentially a target for United. That's been talked about by Muppeteers and by a Turkish outlet. We'll keep an eye out on it. Seen him a few times for Turkey. He always seemed involved in play, but we'll see. It's hard to judge players solely based off international tournaments, and it's also very difficult as well to make a case just for signing someone from internationals. We've kind of been burnt by that before. But he's not a bad player. I think, yeah, he's a left back playing for Fenerbahce. So there is talk about a left back. Could he be the guy? Could he be the option we go for? He's played for a few clubs in his career already. I think I've seen that he played in the Netherlands, possibly for Go Ahead Eagles as well. And if that was the case, it could be something of a reunion with Hake. He also played for NEC as well. So we'll keep an eye out on him. Does look to be an interesting player. I put his name into the chat. You guys can go check him out as well, because I'm really bad at names for anyone who is new. But yeah, that does look to be the one there. You guys can go check him out. Let me know your thoughts on him. Bardesigner, one problem with Ten Hag, he isn't proactive in his changes in game. No, that's also true. I think Ten Hag substitutions can be a little too late in terms of the game, and maybe we do need to make more of an effort to try in-game management and change things within the game and stuff, but that's all going to be an Erik Ten Hag. I think that this is going to be a season likely without excuses. And Bart said, do you know Ten Hag was the youth team coach at Bayern when Zirkzee brought through? Yes. That was, I think there was a previous connection there. I think before that as well, he possibly came through in Belgium as well, I'm going to say. But he's an interesting player. Anyone who isn't too aware of Zirkzee, he's more facilitator of play. People might look at his stats and see that he scored 11 or 12 goals last season. I think, is this guy going to have what we need? But if he can bring 10 goals and he can get 10 goals more out of our wide players, our Rashfords, our Garnachos and stuff, then yeah, that's going to help us out a lot. Pick ups to Keddy down there. Good to see you, buddy. And Sniper Man says, do you think Maguire and or Lindelof should be sold? I think, yeah. I think we're going to sell Lindelof to Fenerbahce. That seems to be a deal that's been talked about for a couple of weeks now. It makes sense. Lindelof, of course, signed by Jose Mourinho. He does look to be overhauling the Fenerbahce defence. He's brought in Soyuncu already, so does he go for Lindelof on top of that? I could see that happening. Turkish Pro League has actually spent in the last 5 or 6 seasons, I think some of the highest transfer fees in terms of any clubs or any leagues in Europe, outspending the likes of the French league and stuff, which is pretty impressive. So I could see that happening, to be fair. Big ups to Lou, man. Good to see you, buddy. Lucky Singh says, give the players many players as he can work with. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's having a lot more support around him in this window. It is interesting though, because if you told me that Ten Hag was staying on, South Glazers were still here, and we were going, I could still see us going for Zirkzee, I could still see us going for Matthias de Ligt and players like that. And does it's one of those things, you know, we talk about a lot of Dutch players coming in and players with previous Dutch experience. So does that equate, I guess, to Erik Ten Hag having still a lot of influence over the club, or do we think these are potential good signings for us, potential important signings who might make a difference for us, you know, in the couple of years that Eric's going to have at the club still to come? So we're going to find out in a lot of ways. It's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a learning process. And we're going to find out as we go along. But just to recap, guys, Mason Greenwood has the deal is pretty much done with Marseille. Does look to have been contact between Marseille and the players' camp, and United have accepted a bid of 31.6 million euros with 4 million euros in add-ons. So you're talking probably 28 million pounds altogether for Greenwood, which, given the circumstances, given the size of the rebuild, I think we're going to have to do this summer. I think that's not bad. If we're getting 25 million pound up front, you basically can split that into 2 deals once it's amortized over a contract for 4 or 5 years. That kind of gets things done. Obviously, add-ons and stuff will feature into other deals, but that's a good boost to the books, to the profit sustainability rules or FFP and stuff. So that's positive news for United. That could be getting Jared Brantwhaite over the line. That could be getting Yoro over the line, or Ugarte, whoever we want to get in the next couple of weeks. Alan is down there. Greenwood will not go to Marseille. The mayor rejected the deal. Haven't seen anything on that. I can only go off what I've seen in the last 10 minutes here from The Athletic and David Ornstein. I don't think the mayor would have too much of an input really on what Marseille do as a club, but we'll see. Obviously, look, it's different in France. We've seen Mbappe get involved with Macron and trying to keep him in France. It's not too outside of the realms of possibility, but I can see that happening, to be fair. Bart as well. Rene Hake was the manager of 20's age group when McLaren was also there. I'm not surprised either. I'm not surprised. We do seem to be trying to build in some kind of a link up and some kind of connection between players and the coaching staff. So we'll find out on that there one. Anyway, we have some quotes from Erik Ten Hag that we can have a quick look at. He's been talking about pre-season availability. We have a decent number of first-team players who will form the foundation of our squad. It will be a short slot. We have to take each game seriously. And I think, talking on the training ground in atmosphere, he says there's no way not to feel positive at the moment. The new owners have brought in a lot of change and a lot of good feelings. So we're going to find on that there one. They're very pleased with Ashworth and Wilcox coming in, supportive people, helping in scouting, recruitment, and they're raising the bar. So let's say, look, I'm not going to say Manchester United's going to be winning any league titles next year. We're not going to win a Champions League. We know this. But let's take some steps forward instead of taking steps backwards. For the last, 10, 12 years, it's been 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 forward, 4 back. We've always gone forward and then just come back. Let's take progressive steps forward and begin to change this football club. It does look like we're heading out their way. Alan said, I'm in France, mate. Nice one as well, though, buddy. I'll see what happens on the Greenwood one. I will not be surprised if there is some kind of upkick about it. I will not be surprised if there is some frustration around the deal. We'll just find out, though. Obviously, Marseille are a private football club. We'll see what happens in that regard. But 1 step at a time. They agreed. Marseille obviously feels strong about it. That's probably going to be one of their bigger signings in club history as well, Mason Greenwood. So they look pretty committed to it. The deal is agreed with Marseille, of course. Bart's in there. Ruud is a difficult personality to deal with, but that's because he's very high standards. Hopefully his drive and motivation will rub off in the right way. Yeah, I think it has to as well, Bart. I think really we've kind of lacked leaders within the dressing room and within the club from time. It does look like a leaderless club at times. So hopefully Roy can bring some of that along with him, and he can add, of course, to it the tactical decision making. It's interesting there hasn't really been too much news in terms of what his role will be at the minute, and that's maybe something to keep an eye out on. Is Van Nistelrooy coming in to work on player development? I can't quite see that one, given his coaching experience, given he's won a Dutch Cup with PSV. He's probably going to come in with some more tactical input and some overall assistance to the game plan, I guess. Man Utd is down there. Can't see that one. And Lucky says the club will decide to miss Greenwood. And Alan said not the fans, the mayor of Marseille. I haven't seen anything about that at the minute. Let me just I'll put it maybe into Twitter or something. I'm sure there's something. Just give me a second there, guys. I'll give you guys a story to see if there is anything in this. Mayor of Marseille and see if anything comes up. Matada, are Bart's questions on our club challenging or easy to answer? No, I like Bart's comments. They're always really insightful. They're always kind of interesting. Last week, the mayor of Marseille spoke out against the signing of Attal because he was provoking racial hatred. Let's see what he has to say about Mason Greenwood. We'll find out on that one, I guess. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I haven't seen anything about the Greenwood deal specifically, I guess, from the mayor of Marseille. But it's one of those ones. There probably won't be too much direct involvement, I guess, in terms of the mayor of Marseille in the actual operations of Marseille Football Club. The same way that Andy Burnham, for instance, in Manchester, can advocate United investing in the local area and around Old Trafford and seeing the regeneration of that area. But I can't really see Andy Burnham being much of an impact on it. Going RMC Sport in France. I'll take a look for that, Alan. And Bart said, right to develop the likes of Xavi Simons and Gary Gakpo and a few others like Brantwhaite. Yeah, that's something of a reunion maybe on the cards. Let me see. I'll need to see if RMC have got an English page or something. I'll check on this one, but I can't see the mayor of the city of Marseille being able to directly impact their transfer policy. I'm sure he can give opinions and stuff, but let me see. I'll put in RMC. And Bart as well. He's looking at us challenging questions. Guys, on the poll today, by the way, I forgot to mention this. We're asking you guys, Yoro or Brantwhaite, or are you happy with either? Let me know your thoughts on that one. We've got 61% for Yoro, 31% for Brantwhaite, and 8% are happy with either signing. Let me see. RMC. It's all kind of in French. We've got Zirkzee talking about the deal there, but no, I can't see anything here, I guess. Greenwood gets closer to joining Olympic Marseille. The club supporters have launched a hashtag Greenwood not welcome on social media, opposing a rival. Maybe that's what we're talking about. But again, we'll see what happens on that one. We will wait and find out. The mayor speaks on the channel. I can't really pull up a video, but I will check it out afterwards. But I'll keep an eye out in case any headlines or anything does pop up. Let me see. Maybe I'll try a Google search. Will I? I'll do it just to humor everybody. Anyway, guys, 90 votes in the poll. Most of you guys going for Yoro, which is interesting. You know, I think there's definitely big positives in signing both players. I really do like Jared Brantwhaite as a player. I think can play left centre back, right centre back, and he can cover in those areas. Worst case scenario, you probably could try him at left back if you do need that cover. If you do need someone to come in. But it's one of those ones. What have I got here? I've got Daily Mail talking about an RMC report. Let me see if anything comes in here. De Zerbi claimed to publicly defend Greenwood if he signs for Marseille amid furious fan protests over the proposed arrival of Manchester United player. Does look like De Zerbi's sticking up for the deal. I don't know though. I don't know. I can't really see. There's just that stuff on De Zerbi. I'll have to look up for it. I'll have to get back to going back to the stories here. Matatis as well. Is this the strangest window in United's history? Not really, because we haven't really got going yet at the minute. But it's one of those there ones, deals are being done. We're seemingly working on things in the background. We'll get there very close, I imagine. Um, and hopefully we'll get these deals done nice and quick. Guys, big ups and 25 likes. We've got 43 people in the chat. Let's see if we can get up to 30 likes now as well. And Bart said, Brantwhaite is young, Premier League proven, versatile, and will gel well. I would agree with that as well, to be fair, Bart. I think there's good positives on signing both players. I think Yoro maybe has a slightly higher ceiling, but I also think that Brantwhaite is proven in the league. He can play left and right centre back. He has played for Van Nistelrooy before. There is that past connection. There is past relationships there, and maybe this is one of those deals where either or is going to be a really good option for us. It does look like the Ligt is a separate deal, which again is positive. That's good news for United, because what we would want to see is two centre backs coming in, and it does look like we're going for them first. We're prioritising those positions, which is really important when you consider our centre back options at the minute. Our Lisandro Martinez spent most of last season injured, although he is very good. Harry Maguire, again, I like Maguire, but it's one of those there ones. I do think there's big upgrades we can make, and I think that he definitely had a decent season last year, but I don't think he's perfect. We got Lindelof, who's I'm not really a fan of, and he was injured a lot last season. Johnny Evans is 36, coming 37, and you got Willie Cambuala, and that's our centre back. So yeah, we need heavy investment in those areas, we really do. Bart said Fellaini window was the strangest as United passed up in signing Cruz. Yeah, Cruz, Thiago Alcantara were passed up in that window. I think there might have been one or two more really questionable deals as well. Alan said it's on the apps of RMC. I haven't actually got the apps, but I'll check it out afterwards, I guess. And finally I got Lucky Singh saying I would be open to both on a sensible price. Yeah, there was. And there was also talk of another centre back, I think from Feyenoord. I've seen a few guys talking about it. It's Hanko. That was talked about as another potential lower price deal as well. Interesting update coming in from the Daily Mirror. Mitchell van der Gaag is understood to have left Manchester United. That is Ten Hag's long-term assistant manager. His long-term assistant has left the club. So again, that's interesting. We've replaced a lot of the coaching staff and kept Ten Hag, which is one to be watching out for. And I think we've got a couple more stories to bring you guys as well. We've got Manchester Evening News. United agree personal terms with the Ligt. We kind of knew this already. It's about getting the deal done with Bayern and getting the release clauses done. Turn up release clauses, the add-ons and stuff. Once the add-ons are done, once we get a broader understanding, maybe work them done a little bit, I'm sure it'll be done soon. Bart said, will Lenny Yoro's teacher allowed to work Thursday night if he plays United in the EL? Bart just loves a troll comment, man. I don't know what Lenny Yoro teacher's going to do, but I really don't. We have Laurie Whitwell as well saying United would consider loan options in midfield, and that would probably collaborate with some of the reports that Sofian Amrabat isn't ruled out as coming back to the club potentially if we can't get Casemiro moved on, and we can only bring Ugarte in. So again, maybe not too bad of an idea. There probably is some players you could try to loan out, and it just depends what other clubs are doing as well in the market and who they're bringing in. And I'm sure we'll shop around, I'm sure we'll look around, and I'm positive that we will get at least one midfielder, hopefully two. I think we need two. I don't think we need attacking midfielders. I think they need to be sixes, kind of players who can operate in the pivot. I guess Ugarte is one. He's got his flaws in terms of his own ball quality and maybe his aerial duel wins. He's pretty good at interceptions. He's a pretty aggressive tackler. Bring a tenacity to the team maybe we lack as well. Bart said Hanko's a really good player, superb for slot. I thought that he would join us instead of United. It's only tentative talks. I think it's just interest at the moment. It does look like we're talking to a lot of player agents, talking to a lot of clubs, and then we were interested in some other players, whether or not they are what we would call backup options, lower lists, and maybe they're just starting to come out because we're generally casting a broad net in this summer transfer window. We're going to find out, I guess. And I've Bart as well. Underrated signing of the summer is Mats Pfeiffer. He signed for Bayern. Yeah, he'll be a good player for them as well. Matata said Carlos Queiroz is Portuguese. Yeah, he is. And I have Lucky saying I would keep Sofian Amrabat and keep Ahmad Diallo. I think we keep Ahmad. There was talk about a bid coming in for Ahmad, and United not going to take it. And yeah, there was the stuff about the striking position as well from Laurie Whitwell in this morning's press. He said club finances would mean major sales would be needed to bring in another striker on top of Zirkzee, but the possibility has not been ruled out. Internally, Ivan Toney, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, even Alvaro Morata has apparently been discussed as well. I don't mind Morata. I think I've seen a price from Athletic of like 8 million. I guess you could do worse as a third choice striker, but some really big moves being made by Manchester United. Close to agreeing 43 million fee for Ligt. That's Chris Wheeler last night. So it's starting to look good. It's starting to look good. And seemingly, guys, we are multitasking our way towards what looks to be a successful window, and that's what we want to see. You know, we don't want to see repeats of last year, where of course it took us a month to sign Mount, a month to sign Onana. It took us 3.5 weeks to sign Hoyland, and then you rush at the end to try to get Amrabat done, to try to get Bayindir done, and just hope that you do the most you can. It does look like we've got more support in the market this year, like we've got better people with a more organised plan running the show as well. Guys, drop a like on the video if you can, and big ups to those 3 or 4 new people who've hit the sub button as well during the stream tonight. Make sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already, guys. And finally, I have Bart saying a really important component from time to time. Yeah, I don't mind changing up the assistants and, you know, bringing fresh faces in. It is something that we had with Kires, with Mike Phelan, René Meulenstein, of course, even Steve McLaren, Brian Kidd and stuff. You know, Ferguson had a lot of assistants, and sometimes you do need just some different opinions and different options. Maybe people who see different things, which maybe sometimes you do need is just some fresh ideas. Because there was times last year, guys, you seen it, I seen it, we watched pretty much every match of United season last year, and there's a lot of time we did look devoid of ideas, like we weren't sure how to change a match, or weren't sure what might work. And bringing different people in with different voices and opinions, that can only be a good thing for us. A quick update from Fabrizio Romano on this Greenwood sale as well. He said the contract offered by Marseille to Greenwood, is valid until June 2029, so 5-year deal, and United will have a close sell-on clause, close to 50% of future sales. So that's really good. If for instance, he goes to Marseille, does really well in the French league, the deal gets done, there's no protest from the mayor, and that deal gets done, and he does really well for Marseille, and they sell him in 2 seasons' time to some club, I don't even know, Juventus or something, AC Milan for 50 million. Then United will get £25 million just by Greenwood being sold. Like, that's a big positive for United. And I also have Bart saying, give each player 6 months before judging them. United shouldn't climb on their backs. No, you know, I like to give players time, and you know, I think that we've give quite a lot of players time on the channel. We don't really go after our own players too much. I think there's some that we can make a case for, there's some that we probably start to lose hope on at some point, and then there's other players who I think we can see the signs of progress, the signs of talent, and it just depends on developing it and growing that. I think Hoyland's maybe in that mode of a player. We can see the talent, we know that he has to improve his own game, but he also needs more service, he also needs more chances and more opportunities within games. Can't be a striker and having 1 shot a match. You know, he needs to have 3 or 4 shots a match. How many attempts on goal does Haaland get in a match? How many attempts on goal do many of the top strikers get? You know, give them the service, they will score more goals. So I think Hoyland's one, for instance, where we would say, yeah, there's talent there. It can get better, but there is more to come. I think when you maybe look at Anthony, you struggle to make that case. Maybe when you look at Sancho and everything that's gone on, you can say, yeah, I think this guy's probably going to get sold and stuff. You know, it's one of those there ones. We'll always give players time when possible. Don't really like to dig out our own players too much as well. I have Lucky down there. Lindelof, Greenwood, and Casemiro will be important to sell these guys. I would agree with that, Lucky, as well. I would agree with that. Matata says as well, Barding owner is Radcliffe and nationalist, so things will go his way in schools in the municipality. If we talking local politics, is an interesting one. I don't know though. I don't know. I'll stay clear of the political talk anyway. Lucky's saying as well, Lindelof told United he will be leaving for Fenerbahce. I haven't seen too much in that one, but the interest is there. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, you start to connect the dots in your own head and you say, right, Mourinho brought Lindelof to United in the first place. He's seen something in him he liked. It's not without the realms of possibility, now that he's gone to Fenerbahce, that he might go back to players he's previously worked with. He's brought Soyuncu in there. They're clearly having something of a defensive overhaul at Fenerbahce, so maybe Lindelof is the next one to go in that sense. I think finding buyers for Maguire, etc., will be that's a harder job, because I think that they're less likely to move abroad. So you're kind of looking at maybe like a West Ham or like a Newcastle or someone like that if you really wanted to sell Harry Maguire. So, there's a bigger pool that you can export Lindelof to. That's just my opinion, though. It might prove to be totally different. Maguire goes and plays for Atletico Madrid, and Lindelof stays. I don't know, though. All conjecture, all just speculation from my point of view. But I do think Lindelof is more likely to be sold than Harry Maguire in this window. That's just my opinion. Anyway, look on the poll, 118 votes, guys. Thanks so much for dropping the your response to the poll as well. Would you rather keep Brantwhaite or Yoro? 63% say Yoro, 27% say Brantwhaite, and 10% are saying either. So, gonna be an interesting couple of days on those deals. I would expect a third bid to go in for Jared Brantwhaite. We eagerly wait to see what Yoro decides to do. He might just say, I still want to go to Madrid. And that's his preference. We can't force the player to sign for us, but I'm sure Lille's preference would be to take United still, which is going to be more money for him as well. Benson says, are we going to buy both Yoro and Brantwhaite? Nah, I don't think so. I think when you see the reports of us getting close to agreeing the deal for Jared Brantwhaite, close to agreeing, I think 40 million, I think it is the kind of ballpark that we're talking about there for De Ligt. So, if you're bringing De Ligt in, you're not going to bring in 3 centre-backs at 40-50 million pound. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'd say you get De Ligt and you get one more, and I think that's centre back looked at in this window. I think then you go for Zirkzee. That's almost done that deal. You look at midfielders. Ugarte seems to be talked about. You have, of course, the Turkish left back who we talked about earlier. His name I'm very bad at pronouncing, and I guess maybe at that point you try to offload a few more. You look for a few more sales. Maybe your Casemiro's. Maybe you do look at an Ericsson or a McTominay or something. I'm not too sure, and try to bring another midfielder in. And I guess, kind of after that there, who knows what's going to happen. But it does look to be the beginnings of a good window and a big window. We'll see how we stand, though. We've been in this position, linked to a lot of players before. Let's see how we stand in a week's time. I think we go for pre-season in about a week. So let's see if any new players are on the plane going over. Let's see if we have any debuts coming up in the tour. And yeah, we'll just hold our breath and see. We've been in this position before, being linked to lots and lots of different and exciting players, only to not sign very many of them. So I guess we will be patient. We will hopefully find out some further news this week, and maybe with potentially the Netherlands leaving Euro 2024 tomorrow night, or even if they get to the final, it's over at the end of the week. Same with Copa America, its finals coming up pretty soon. So once those deals are done and those competitions are done, maybe you see a push for some of the players who might be on international duty at the moment, who can't quite get in for medicals and contracts and all that stuff. So we'll keep our eye out on that one. Look, guys, thanks so much for joining tonight. Been a really, really good stream. Really enjoyed the conversation and the comments. So thanks so much for the likes and your subs, and for voting on the poll as well. Should be live again tomorrow as well. In 22 minutes, France plays Spain in the semi-final of Euro 2024. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to check out to go watch that there one. I'm going to do that as well. That's going to be my plan, go watch the football. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll catch everyone tomorrow.